When it comes to legal challenges, you need expert counsel that's practical, affordable, and cuts through the red tape. That's exactly what Foundation Law Group delivers. For over a decade, Armin Martin and his powerhouse team have been redefining legal services, offering senior-level expertise in corporate law, litigation, digital media, entertainment, employment law, real estate, and more. With nearly 20 experienced attorneys, they provide hands-on partner-level service to help businesses confidently navigate their most critical decisions. No bureaucracy, no inefficiencies, just smart, effective legal solutions tailored to your needs. Whether you're a startup, a growing company, or facing complex legal issues, Foundation Law Group has your back. Visit foundationlaw.com today and take the first step towards smarter legal solutions. That's foundationlaw.com.
They actually have a plan for today's Nice Guys on Business podcast. You don't want to miss it.
Last year, it really was a light bulb moment. We were at Philmont, which is this huge scout ranch over in New Mexico. Yeah. And the nice thing about it is we're at training, and somehow Aaron took my book out in the middle of class, and we were talking about networking, and he goes, "Rob wrote a book all about networking. You really got to check it out." And our classmates took turns taking my book back to their tent at night to read it. Nice. And the one thing they kept on saying to me was, this stuff still applies. And I just had a light bulb moment, but I'm like, I can't do another DJ book. I need to make sure I can give this to more people. And what's the foundation of a DJ business? You're a small business.
Right, small business.
So that's what I did, is I took the good stuff out of the business of mobile DJing, and then I put in a whole bunch of stuff that I learned that I didn't learn in college that helped my small business thrive.
No, they're not superheroes. But that's just because they couldn't decide on what color to make the costumes. Although they do wear capes. Everywhere. Go from where you are now to where you could be. Get expert tips to grow your business, to be more productive and more efficient, whether you're trying to build influence, grow your community, or make it rain. Best-selling author of Nice Guys Finish First, Doug Sandler, can lead the way. The Nice Guys on Business is produced by Turnkey Podcast Productions. Now, here's your host, Doug Sandler.
All right, Nice Guy community, welcome back to the podcast. So today we're joined by Rob Peters. He's a seasoned entrepreneur with over 35 years of experience in the entertainment industry, and it is totally the industry that I came out of, which I think it was the final nail in the coffin was COVID. Not that I couldn't have survived from that, but just the effort of coming back from that, somewhere around 58, 59 years old. I was not looking for that. Anyway, Rob, he started as a mobile DJ in 1987. He founded Rob Peters Entertainment, gaining recognition for his innovative trivia and game show services. Then he navigated the challenges of COVID-19, of course, the pandemic, as you guys remember that full-heartedly, earned accolades like Entrepreneur of the Year, and was inducted into the Mobile Entertainment Hall of Fame. Rob's also an author, a speaker, and a coach, helping fellow entrepreneurs with his books, The Business of Mobile DJing and The Small Business CEO's Playbook. Stick around as we dive into this journey. I'm excited to chat with him. My old buddy, not old, but I mean, not chronologically old, but we both are old fucks, so whatever.
We're not old. We're seasoned, Doug.
We are well seasoned. As a matter of fact,
yeah.
As we are doing this, I am smoking some jalapenos on the smoker along with tomatoes. The only thing that separates me and salsa right now is this interview, and I'm excited.
Okay.
So I am very excited to chat with you, almost as excited to chat with you as I am about the salsa. Rob, welcome to the podcast.
Well,
man.
Thank you. First of all, member of the small business community, Nice Guy community. So great to be here, and have been binge listening to you and Strickland do your thing. In preparing for the interview, one of the tips you gave us was listen to an episode.
Right.
So I did.
Right.
My phone is stuck. Every time I get in my vehicle to go somewhere, Doug, it's not an informational episode. It's always an episode with you and Strickland just shooting the breeze, which is a great way when I'm in Boston traffic to spend an hour.
Oh,
so
my
it's great.
gosh. So I'm first of all, I'm sorry. Sorry that you didn't get to hear any of the other cool episodes with great guys like you that are sitting in the guest seat. But let's dig into this content, because I think this is going to be a really fun episode. So you and we met, I would say, probably it might have been the early 2000s or maybe the 1990s.
It was like 2001, 2002, something like that. It was one of the National Association of Mobile Entertainment conferences.
Right. And we've had fun ever since then.
And you know what? sticker mule. That's the one thing I remember. You had these DJ Doug stickers. You're handing them out like water.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, it was funny. You gave me that tip. I never used it.
Well, that's okay. There's been a lot
Never
of tips
used it.
that a lot of tips I've given away that people have never used. I spent, let's see, I spent from 1984 when I first picked up my first record to put it on a turntable in a bar called the Straw Boss in College Park, Maryland, until 2015. No, 2023, because I did my last bar mitzvah in 2023. I had them, as you probably do as well, on your schedule sometimes for 1, 2, 3 years in advance, some of these gigs that you may do. So I was just waiting for the end. And then finally that last gig came, and I think the final tally was somewhere around 22 or 2,300 bar mitzvahs, maybe another 1,500 other events in my life.
Wow.
And I'm like, this was fucking nuts. And then when you reached out to me and I saw that you are still gladly saying you are still in the business. Tell me about the journey, everything that has changed, including yourself over the years.
So let's go back to pre-COVID, because pre-COVID things were going great, doing weddings. In 2018, we made this weird decision that we were going to back away from weddings because we had all this money invested in like infrastructure for game shows and team building.
Right.
And I'm a team building coach. So I go into companies and make them do weird stuff with straws and masking tape and get paid for it, which is cool.
It's cool, isn't it?
So we started transitioning, and the plan was it was November 3rd, 2020 was supposed to be the last wedding I would ever do.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit. And it's funny, we're talking about a lot of different things going through COVID. COVID was a big pivot. It was huge.
Yeah, for everybody. Especially live events industry.
Well, I think not just live events, Doug, but small business in general. The one thing I think everybody forgot is every business still had to pay their rent and their insurance, and we had to pay. Music was still coming out, so we pivoted. We did a bunch of weird stuff that we could talk about a little bit later. I bought a hot dog cart. It's a thing, and we made money though and survived COVID. After COVID, we rescheduled some weddings. I have my last wedding coming up this October that I'm really, really psyched about, just to be able to work on that and do one last one. But we're doing a lot of team building. We're doing 15 bars throughout south of Boston. So I'm located, to give your listeners an idea. You've got Boston and you've got Providence, right? Smack dab
I
in the
believe you're talking Northeast. Okay. Now I live in Southern California. I don't know anything on the East
That's
Coast
right.
anymore.
You relocated. You're on the West Coast now. But halfway down the middle, and this is the one that will either get your fans really psyched, or they'll go, him. I live 10 minutes away from Gillette Stadium where the New England Patriots play.
Oh, my God.
So, I'm halfway through the middle. So we have 15 bars and restaurants that we do weekly trivia and music bingo and things like that. We're getting a lot of calls for corporate. We're doing live game shows and just having a blast doing it. So it's a lot of fun. We still have the kids entertainment division with the bubbles, and we're still doing that. But I'm actually just doing more of the directing traffic now. I go out and do some stuff, but I don't do as much as I used to.
So in 2015, and I appreciate you sharing a little bit of that journey, and I need maybe some more details about this part of your life, because I'm going to talk about just something just real quickly, just so everybody knows the setup of this. So in 2015, I wrote this book called Nice Guys Finish First, and then I started the podcast immediately on the heels of that in February of the same year, 2015. And I started planting seeds for this other business, this business consulting, teaching people how to, really focus on customer service as a way to grow your business, the customer journey and all of that. And then the podcast production business was born somewhere around 2017. I had a 3-year head start on COVID, where everybody in the live events business that was moving in maybe a different angle of the live events business, maybe moving to corporate, as opposed to you were still in the live events business. How did you survive from March of 2020 for literally 2 years? How did you pay your bills during that time? Which is a question that I would have had major concerns. I would have shit myself if I had to just make a living in the events business at that point.
So in full disclosure, the government did help.
Yeah, me too.
But at the same time, it didn't cover everything.
Right.
So a couple of things we did. The first thing we did was we took a look at what was going on around us. Parents and kids home, and they both had to work.
Right.
I have my fiance and her daughter who live in the same house as me, and they were going at it every day.
Is this the same fiance from 2001? I mean,
Yes,
okay. I mean,
yes.
at some point, you got to make an honest woman out of that
Oh
lady.
no, you know what? We've been engaged. Actually, it was didn't go back. Yeah, it was actually 2011 we got engaged. I'm sorry, we got engaged in 2017, but we met in 2010.
Okay,
So it's
all
been
right.
15 years. She's got the ring on her finger, so we're
I
good.
got it. You're just
But
working on planning. It just takes a little while.
you know what? To us, it's gonna eventually happen. It's honestly gonna be one of those things we're gonna come home and go, so what are you doing? I don't know. Why don't
All
we
right,
go
let's
down to
go
town
get
hall?
married. All
But
right, take me back. Okay, so
so
2020 until 2022. What the hell? I know PPP and EIDL and all the other
yep.
acronyms that are out there. I'm sure, as I did, you took advantage of as many of those things
I,
as you
I
could.
took advantage of what was available to me, but the first thing we did was we decided to throw some goodwill out there. We went on tour. We built a bubble trailer with 3 bubble machines and a PA,
The
and we
Bubble
ran
Man.
it Bluetooth. And what we did was we did the bubble tour, and we went into neighborhoods to just spread some cheer
And
because
how
people
did
were miserable.
well, did they let you? They obviously didn't let you into their houses, but did they? Were you doing it on the street, literally
We
going
drove
up and down the
we
blocks?
drove through going up and down streets, and what we did every day, we had a huge social media following on Facebook. So we plotted it out. We went to 10 towns. And basically, we told everybody what streets we were going to be on. Doug, when I tell you, you felt like a rock star when you turned down the street and
Oh
there
my
were people
gosh!
standing there, kids waving to you, holding posters. We had some kids
Nice.
actually take driveway chalk and do a thank you bubble man kind of thing and drew our logo and everything. We went into towns that did that, and then we started doing bubble driveway parties where if it was your birthday or whatever, we put hula hoops down and that was your spot if
Right.
you were a kid. We
Right.
pulled in the driveway, backed in, we had the trailer going, music, bubbles. We did 30-minute parties in, out. We could keep the kids socially distant and we gave them a fun time.
I, if I
That
re
was the first thing.
If I remember correctly, now this is going way back, well beyond my memory ability to remember anything back in 2020, just a few years ago,
Hmm.
but it's still further than my senior brain can take me. I remember, at least I thought in DC, you weren't even allowed to do events. Now, maybe that wasn't the same, or maybe I'm remembering it incorrectly, or maybe it was just pertained to inside events. You couldn't do that. You couldn't have any more than like 6 people in a room or something like that.
This was all outside in your backyard. So
Got it.
we took that trailer and backed in. And
Nice.
honestly, this wasn't like, we were doing it in the parking lot of a venue or doing it under a tent in a venue. We were backing in your driveway, doing 30 quick minutes, keeping the kids socially distant, letting them have fun. And
What
then
a
we jumped
great
in the
thing.
truck and we went to the next one.
What a great thing, Rob. What
That
a
was
great
the
thing.
first thing. I bought a hot dog cart. Now, so always wanted to do that. I wrote a business plan back in 2000 about how to do a hot dog cart because I'm like, I'm right on the main drag to Gillette Stadium.
Yeah.
I could make a killing. I never pulled the trigger until 2020, bought a hot dog cart because you could sell food. Like that's how you could do it.
Right, right.
Went and got all my licenses, did everything.
Yeah,
We
you
set
were
up on Route 1.
you were an essential. I forget what it's.
Essential worker. You were an
Right.
essential
If you're
employee.
selling food, you're an essential worker.
And we set up on Route 1 and we did like weekday stuff. So we were down the street from this place called the Auto Mile, which is all these auto dealerships. And we would set up at this candy store that had an ice cream shop.
Yeah.
And the service managers would all go and scout out if I was going to be there. They'd pull in and they would buy lunch for their crews and then send down the salespeople with people test driving cars and stuff.
So
It
great.
was insane, but we took it to another level because we used the hot dog carts to help the senior citizen communities and the councils on aging. They would hire us and pay us to go do a parking lot party where we would serve lunch and we would do music bingo using a small FM transmitter, like consumer grade thing.
Right, right.
And if they got bingo, they beat their horn. It was really cool and it was a lot of fun. And they were just looking to get the seniors out of the house and get them engaged.
Way to
So
way to pivot, innovate, and be creative with everything. And one of the things that I remember about you going back, I mean, this probably is your entire life because I feel like I lead the same life this way. You have been an ultimate positive person, the one that always says, I know it's going to work out for the better, and I know it's going to work out to my benefit, and it does. If you're a law of attraction, if you continue to have that attitude is going to come back to reward you. Tell me how much that played into the game here, as far as you would think.
it Well, in full disclosure, at that point in time, also, like right at the beginning of COVID, my dad passed.
Oh,
My
sorry.
dad had been fighting pulmonary fibrosis. He was in Vietnam and he was exposed to Agent Orange. And the one thing about that journey, which unfortunately ended, was leading up to that. Every time they gave my dad a diagnosis, he beat it.
Mm,
So they would say you get 6 months. And like 18 months later, he'd be going in for a checkup. They'd be like, wow, you got this far, but guess what? You got another 6 months.
right.
So I looked at that, but realistically, it was one of those things I didn't want to stay home and not do anything and
Right.
just ride
Right.
this out. I would go
Right.
stir crazy. Watching Friends reruns really wasn't going to work for me. So I wanted to keep busy because I figured at the end of all of this, if I'm still standing, that means that I have a future to continue working on as opposed to some of the small businesses. And you and I both know them, Doug. There are people who were there before March of 2020. And when things reopened, beginning of 2022, 2023, they were gone.
Well, you spent 30 years prior to 2020 doing the entertainment thing. If there was something that was in your blood through and through, it was
Hmm.
entertainment, whether it's being creative as the bubble guy or doing the hot dog thing. You just pivoted in the same industry. You just took a slightly different approach, one that was more profitable. So talk about post 2020. Now we're back in the game again. Have you fully realized the benefit of what all of this new stuff that you created during that time?
Some of it, in full disclosure, I got rid of the hot dog cart about 2 years.
You
Well,
like
I got rid of it
been
for a
there,
couple of
done that.
reasons. Well, we started getting busy again, and the problem is for me to be standing
Yeah,
at a place to sell hot dogs. Not a bad thing, but if your phone's ringing, you're trying to pursue contracts
right,
and you've got other business coming in that is starting to be your new normal, you
right.
begin to go, okay, you know what? Let me go find somebody to do this. And we started. We looked, we did a couple of things. We had some interest in people leasing the cart from us. But the problem is, I wanted to protect my investment. So I did. I was ultra careful on who I was going to have in that position. And quite honestly, it just never worked out. So I had a
Right.
caterer who was a
Right.
friend of mine. She actually gave me all my hot dog recipes. All my hot dogs, by the way, were named after songs.
Recipes? Oh, you mean like the toppings and
Yeah.
things? I mean, you were
So
not
for
a hot dog
example,
maker.
my chili dog was Great Balls of Fire. I
Jerry
had a
Lee
Live
Lewis,
La Vida Loca dog, which was salsa
Ricky
and
Martin.
Doritos and cheddar cheese. Like we went crazy with this just because we wanted to have fun with it and put something else on the map. But my caterer bought it and she actually made some money with it. But we just got back on the horse and started
Right.
networking and doing
Right.
a lot of the stuff we did before. I mean, I love going out and networking and meeting new people that I can expand my horizons into and at the same time help them with what they might need on my end. So it was pretty cool and we're doing pretty well. We're doing good.
I remember going back to 2013. The reason I even decided to write the book to begin with, when I wrote a book, and I know you have a couple, and we'll talk about those as
Hmm.
well. I decided to write the book is because I saw the writing on the wall. I did 105 events every year for probably 20 years. And then beyond that, I started to see, oh, hey, I have less than 100. Oh, I have 85 events on the books now. Oh, geez, I have 60 events. Geez, I got 50 events. I really need to start focusing on either marketing myself differently or pivoting. And I just said, you know what? I don't know at that point, as a 40 something, if I really feel like at 65, I want to be the guy on the middle of the dance floor doing the cha-cha slide and the electric slide. I didn't feel like and even though I had the game show thing and I was doing all the camp thing, I was tired. I mean, I love doing it still because I love the crowd, as you probably can
Hmm.
attest.
Yep.
When you're out
You
there,
you do.
you get your energy from that crowd on the dance floor. I don't care what 60 songs you're playing at that event. And I felt like I saw the writing on the wall. At some point, do you see what is the next thing that you're going to do in your career that's going to add additional impact to your mark on society?
So some of it's actually happening now.
Okay,
So
talk to
in
me.
addition to running the company, which, we're in the middle of doing all that, I've transitioned as a executive. I am a Eagle Scout. So I've transitioned to working for Scouting America full time.
Okay, I got it. I got it.
So,
Okay.
so I'm juggling two full-time opportunities here and a fiance and a camping life. But the one thing about it is it takes a lot of those skills I have, Doug, as
Of
a business
course.
owner and
Of course.
even knowing how to sell to kids and the families has been such a big thing transitioning over here. And it's a program I grew up in. It's a program I believe in. It really, even before we met, when I was in high school, it helped shape who I was and who I was going to become.
Absolutely.
So I'm there now and I'm having a blast, and it's nice to see that full circle. I'm actually teaching, you ready for this? Public speaking merit badge.
Well, let's
You
go.
think?
Well, if you had to roll all of your audiences up in a ball and say, well, I've entertained in front of X amount of people, it's got to be either hundreds of thousands or millions of people that you have entertained in your career.
I think you've got me beat by a couple of thousand, but I think you're about there too. So, but that's really what's going on. I mean, I'm trying to get to a point where I can enjoy life. Like, that's been the cool thing about this whole thing is I have an RV. We camp on the weekends with 10 other families, and it's nice to be able to get there on Friday. And you know what? I'm not running out on Saturday to do as many things as I used to, which
How
is great.
Is that? And you've listened to some of the episodes of Nice Guys with Strickland on there. Strickland came from the entertainment world also. He was a band leader in a band called Black Tie, and we were buddies for 20 plus years before we even got into this Chazarai over this side. But it's interesting. It's like we are so excited to have our weekends back again.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had a weekend that I've had to work in over 2 years now. And even when I was doing it, I was commuting back from California, from Southern California, back to Washington, D.C. twice a month to do events, because it would pretty much equate to 2 or 3 or 4 events that I was doing, and I try to schedule it so that I was not having to be back east every weekend, so every other week for probably about 2 years, from 2018 to 2020, before it all shit hit the fan.
And it does wear on you, like that whole travel thing. And that's the one thing that's really happened, because we're one of the few game show companies around. 2 weeks ago, I was basically 3 minutes from the Canadian border at a ski resort called Jay Peak in Vermont. And you're that close to the Canadian border when you hear Madonna, Cherish, and you hear it in English, but then the announcer comes on and you speak in French. You're in a totally different zone, right? And I've got companies all throughout New England. I have a company every year. They've booked me for 5 years. It's a subsidiary of Verizon. They have their annual party the weekend before Thanksgiving. So remember, if you go back to the entertainment days, that was always a slow weekend.
Right.
They pay for me to drive from Foxborough, Massachusetts to Bangor, Maine.
Oh my gosh.
To do a game show party for them. They put me up. They don't squawk about the rate. And that's been the cool thing about a lot of these transitions is I think about that line from the movie Pretty Woman. I say who, I say when, and I say how much. And that's been the cool thing about this whole experience is I get to do that.
I feel like we have been so fortunate to be able to entertain people for a living. And I don't know about, I can't speak for you, but I know from my perspective, it was the greatest. I don't slight any of the years that I spent doing it. I made a shit ton of money and I felt really good in that. And you get thanked by applause by an audience. The tough stuff was obviously getting the equipment to the gig. You have 2 gigs in a day, making sure the timeline works, all of the stress and the emotion and the energy that goes into that. Where you pull the energy from is the audience itself.
That audience applause is nothing like it. When you look out there and you've dropped the right song and that dance floor is packed and you see the smiles, the money's good too. So don't forget the money.
You got into the DJ Hall of Fame, something I have never been in. Mobile Entertainment Hall of Fame. That's got to feel good.
It's nice to be recognized or nominated by the industry for what I've done. Doug, going back to when we first met, this industry did so much for me to be able to give back and share what I know. And that was really the beginning of how I got to being able to write not just 1, but 2 books is, I felt like I had to give back because I've had such a great journey with the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so tell me about the projects you're working on now. When you originally reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'd love to share some of my info on your podcast. Would you be open to it?" And I said, "Heck yeah, I want to hear more." So tell me what was the intention behind the invite?
So 20 years ago, I wrote The Business of Mobile DJing because back when we first met, the amount of business acumen that was in the mobile DJ industry didn't exist,
Yeah, more
right?
time was spent in the on the trade show floor than in the classes teaching you how to run the business.
That's how I started doing this. I'd be on the trade show floor, and I would have a guy demo a piece of equipment. You go, I'll be right back. I got to go check with my wife to see if I can take the money out of our bank account. I'm like, you don't budget for this stuff?
Right.
And that's how that all began. So 20 years ago, I wrote that book. It was through Pro DJ Publishing. And in the mobile DJ industry, we sold like 500 copies in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So flash forward, about 2 years ago, I'm at a planning conference with Scouting America, and I'm sitting with my friend Aaron. And for some reason, we got up on the topic of people we knew that wrote books.
Mm-hmm.
And I just blurted out that I'd written a book. And it was me, him, and 3 other people. And they turned from, I've written a book, to let's go find Rob's book on eBay, which they did and bought for $5. I seriously feel like I got gypped.
You got none of that sale.
Deal.
None of that sale.
But the one thing that they kept on saying when they got the book and started reading it and they passed it around the office is a lot of this stuff is still relevant. And last year, it really was a light bulb moment. We were at Philmont, which is this huge scout ranch over in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about it is we're at training, and somehow Aaron took my book out in the middle of class, and we were talking about networking, and he goes, Rob wrote a book all about networking. You really got to check it out. And our classmates took turns taking my book back to their tent at night to read it.
Nice.
And the one thing they kept on saying to me was, this stuff still applies. And I just had a light bulb moment, but I'm like, I can't do another DJ book. I need to make sure I can give this to more people. And what's the foundation of a DJ business? You're a small business.
Right, small business.
So that's what I did is I took the good stuff out of the business of mobile DJing, and then I put in a whole bunch of stuff that I learned that I didn't learn in college. That helped my small business thrive.
All of the stuff that you learned in growing your DJ business, the pivot during COVID, all of the things that you learned, those are all things that could apply. You don't have to be a mobile DJ in order to make it work. You're learning systems, you're learning process, you're learning dealing with people, relationships, invoicing, HR, all of the stuff. Even if it's a business of one, you still need to have that experience in Nice Guy Community. This is what Rob does. This is what he is exceptional at. You can't have a business for 35 plus years, be successful at it and not learn some shit. And he has learned a lot of shit.
Exactly. It was a lot of fun to write. It was a lot of late nights. My fiance would go to bed and I'd be until about 2 or 3 o'clock. And funny, now that the book's out, there's a whole bunch of new ideas that just keep going. Like I'll be in the truck and I'll be sitting in traffic and I'll be like, wait a second, here's an idea. And I have a notepad right there. And that's stuff that I'm starting to blog about a little bit. And, you know, who knows what's going to happen. Somebody said to me the other day, do you think there's another book in your future? And it's what people don't understand, Doug, you get it, is writing a book isn't just like sitting down and in about a week it's done. It's not like a term paper in college.
Oh, no.
It takes a lot of work. And then you've got editing and proofreading and editing and proofreading and then trying to do distribution. And it was a lot of work, but I got to tell you, it was a great ride. And, you know, to be able to do the small business thing, my family started my journey in small business. So I kind of feel like I've taken all that and put it into something that's useful, not just for somebody experienced like you or me, but for all these people. You go through reels on Facebook and you're seeing side hustle people.
Right.
You could do a side hustle doing this. But if you don't know how to run a business and you're going to learn from people's mistakes, and I can help with that, it's a win all the way around, and we can build a better future for a lot of people that are serious about being in business.
Well, one of the things that you talk about in the book is the 10 commandments to small business success. Can you maybe tease those just a little bit? Maybe share one or two of them?
I'll give you a couple of them. The first one is real simple. Every email, every phone call, every inquiry on your business is an opportunity for you to make money.
I love it.
Fellow DJ, who you may remember, Mike Walter out in New Jersey.
Absolutely, yeah.
His ringtone when his phone rings is a cash register. So if you think about that, right?
Yeah.
That's so huge. Another one that I really think is important is if you need professional advice, ask a professional.
Yeah.
If you look at all these little community groups, and again, I know that this exists in every industry, you've got people going, I need advice on how to do this. And you've got other people in the industry who are not qualified answering that question. and not going to like a lawyer or an accountant or anything like that. But the big one I've got is do not dismiss the opportunity to do good or do goodwill. You cannot put a price on future goodwill.
What's so amazing about these commandments, and again, nice guy community, think about this. These, and no offense to Rob at all, because these are amazing. These are not rocket science. And if you get the expression, or if you hear the words, oh man, duh. I remember I wrote my book again, and going back to 2015, I talk about the 3 principles of the nice guys. In order to be a nice guy, you need to be a nice guy.
Yep.
You need to return your phone calls. Those are 2 things. You need to tell the truth. I mean, it's like, and somebody wrote an Amazon review of it. Duh. I mean, that was the entire 1-star. Duh. I'm like, yeah, but until you do them, until you take those 3 things that Rob said, plus another 7 of the commandments that he can share with you through his book, until you actually do them, to know and not to do is not to know.
Exactly.
And so you need to do the things that Rob is saying. Every time the phone rings, it is not a thorn in your side. It's an opportunity for you to make money. Give me those other 2 again. What were the other 2 that you mentioned?
The other 2 is if you need professional advice, ask a professional.
Right. Ask the professional. Become a mentee of a mentor, somebody that has been there and done that. And what was the 3rd one that you shared?
The 3rd one is you cannot put a price on future goodwill.
I mean, come on. All of these things, if you're not doing them and you want a side hustle success, then you're going to not get there. You've got to do these things. All right. What's the book? How do people get it? Where are we with the book right now?
The book's out, so
Okay.
you can get it at robpeters.biz. And in fact, Doug, for your community, if they use the coupon code NICEGUYS all together, they get a discount.
Oh, come on, guys. Go buy the book. Go buy the book.
It's available right there, and I'll even sign it if I see any of the nice guy coupons. I'll be happy to sign it and give it a little inscription, because you know what? It's all about opportunity, and if my opportunities and some of my mistakes can help your opportunity, more power to you. And you know what? It creates a better future and a better business climate all the way around.
All right. Give me the website one more time.
robpeters.biz, B-I-Z.
Couldn't be any easier than that. So go grab a copy of the book. All right, let's take a slight right turn here. I want to know, like, what's going on in your life. Like, what happened personally? Tell me where are you? I know you have a fiance. Tell me more.
Yep. So been with Kim now since 2010. Her daughter is down at Ole Miss. So we're watching her grow into a young woman and going after her degree, and it's tough because they're like best friends. So for me to be there is it's definitely unique and a lot of fun. It's nice to be able to go down there because it's a culture shock. Other than that, my mom, taking care of my mom and just enjoying life, enjoying some camping and going out there.
Where are you taking your RV to? You said you take about 10 trips a year. Where do you go?
Well, for the spring, we start April 1st. And we go camping. You ready for this? 10 minutes from my house.
It doesn't sound like much of an adventure.
Well, we've been doing this for years with 10 families, and we take a whole row of this campground, which is, again, 10 minutes from Gillette Stadium, right?
Yeah.
But the nice thing about it is when we had Madison at home and she was going through all of her activities and stuff, we could go camping.
Yeah.
We could leave and go to a softball tournament or whatever she had going on and come back at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We do travel a couple of big trips. I'm going to Old Orchard Beach. I think we're going to upstate New York to Lake George this year with the camper, but I've also got, other stuff going on. We're doing a couple of conventions this year with the book, and just trying to get out there and get into front of like trade groups and things like that, because I think this benefits everybody. But that's what I'm really up to. I've got to a point where work, as great as it is, you have to find that balance.
When do you think you're going to hang up those the 1s and 2s for good, if ever?
For good?
Or do you see yourself ever retiring, or is that not a part of your future?
It's funny. I had this conversation with myself today, and I said to myself, self, right now I am 38 years in.
Yep.
And I think I'm going to keep doing the management and taking the occasional gigs here for another 1 or 2 years. and just build up. I mean, I've had some offers on the business to be able to sell and walk away.
Right.
I have somebody who's buying the bubble business this year, which I'm pretty psyched about.
Right.
And I'm going to be coaching him. And I think if I can continue to build this trivia and game show thing for another year and just make sure it's fine-tuned for the new owners, they've put a pretty lucrative offer that I'm still kind of considering at the moment. I don't know if I want to sell it to them with the way things are at the moment,
Well, Rob, you are, as always, such a super guy. I was so excited when I heard from you. I'm horrible with staying in contact with old contacts. Ken Costco, who does not live too far from you in the
right up the road.
In the Mass area. He and I have stayed connected, but I'm so horrible, and he's horrible at it too. So we end up never talking, other than just maybe a Facebook message every once in a while.
So let me give you a little history and see if you can remember this.
All right,
you were on my podcast because I've done occasional podcasting here and there. You were on my podcast during COVID.
I was.
We recorded an episode and talked about nice guys.
I did not remember that.
Yep.
So what the hell? It took you 4 years to get back to me.
Yeah, it's my fault too. But no, you were on my podcast was the Mobile DJ Business Podcast, which as things came out of COVID, I was like, you know what? I just couldn't put the effort in to be able to do that and just maintain it. I just had too many things going on. And, it's that whole nice guys thing, being, the positive, proactive guy. I just kept on wanting to go after opportunity after opportunity.
We'll talk about this after I stop recording too, but you mentioned some sort of secretive nature mentioned at the beginning is, hey, we might want to talk about maybe a podcast. So what's going on in your world? I mean, just give us a teaser.
Well, I think in conjunction with the book, if I'm being honest, I think being able to go on and do more of the small business kind of approach, and I had some good experts. I had you on. I had a bunch of people that were not DJ related,
right,
on that podcast that had some really valuable stuff. So
great
it's
interviews.
Something that I think would be pretty cool to be able to do again. I do enjoy getting on the mic and being able to do interviews and things like that, and be able to. Again, I think it's part of. If you really think about it, it's part of your legacy and who you are. I mean, you've got Turnkey, you've got all this great stuff going on, and it's what people are going to remember. They're going to remember you did the book. They're going to remember you did like 2 million mitzvahs in Washington, D.C. But, it's the stuff we're going to leave behind for the future.
Yeah.
I think that's going to make it stick out. So you never know. We might be talking about that.
All right, Rob. Well, so appreciate you and being on the show. Thanks for hanging out. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. And for those of you that are in our community, again, go to robpeters.biz, B-I-Z. We'll make sure we put a link in the show notes so you have access to it. Thanks, Rob, for sharing. Thanks for being here. And thanks for your expertise and your positive nature. Again, thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice. Again, special thanks to Rob Peters. All of his info, including access to his website, right there in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. Fill up your week with the Nice Guys. The Nice Guys on Business are publishing 5 episodes a week. My master plan is working.